we're going to do now is trim the lip of the cylinder. This cylinder is really pretty flat and pretty level and pretty consistent. I don't know that it needs to be trimmed, but for the sake of learning how, we are going to practice. We're going to start the wheel going at a reasonably slow speed. And the key is just to make sure that, again, you're holding the needle tool in a way where you've got control of it. You're going to put your finger on the inside. Actually, I'm going to get it just a little wet. What you're going to do is you're going to push the needle all the way to your finger as soon as you feel it prick. The key is just to kind of hold on. It's going to be nice and slow. Make sure you go around a time or two more than you think you need to, and then just lift up quickly. Kind of get rid of your lip. And then again, you're going to want to kind of clean up and maybe compress a little. I like to put a little bit of pressure with my finger on the back side, make sure that it's nice and level. Often I'll put just a little bit of pressure on both sides with the sponge and let it kind of make a nice, smooth, rounded, compressed lip at the top. One more time. You always want to make sure that your lip is nice and thick. If there's a place where a cylinder is going to chip or crack, it's going to be the lip. That's the part that takes the most abuse. So that will be our trimmed lip. Now we're going to see if we can trim the bottom. And from the inside, it's nice and flat and level, but you'll notice we kind of slope out towards the bottom, which is a little bit thicker than we need to be. At this point, the nice thing is you can trim the excess off the bottom. Again, I like to use a wooden tool. There's a number of different ways to do it. And basically what I'm going to do is kind of try to mirror the outside edge of the vessel. So I'm going to kind of start nice and slow, and again, you're going to push slowly. And once I hear it kind of grinding on the bottom, then I've got my first part of the trim done. I'll then switch the tool around. A lot of times I'll have the straight edge first. At this point, we'll switch it this way, and I'll kind of open it up a little. I'll just kind of follow inside the hole. Start to pull it away. And then the key is just to kind of trim it out. And sometimes I'll trim it out in sections. Kind of pull off a little bit of the extra. I'll start it nice and slow. I'll kind of start where I want to be. And I'll just kind of hold the tool to kind of clean off the outside. Again, I don't know that I love the bottom as to where it is now, but we can do the same thing. We'll start the wheel back up again. And I can trim off a little bit more, kind of clean it up to where I want it to be. I'll often use kind of angled towards the pot to get the first trim, often to the second trim. And then with this we can do a number of different things. A lot of times I'll just kind of roll at the bottom just a little bit, again using the angled side. And I often do that just to kind of create a nice natural line for where we want to glaze the pot from what's going to be the bottom of the pot and what we're going to leave unglazed. It's a pretty simple way to do that. You can use a number of different edges or a number of different angles to come up with a bunch of different shapes on the bottom. But it's a nice simple way just to use a wooden tool and trim off that excess. Now the pot's nice and consistent all the way through, and we have a nice little edge along the bottom for maybe a place to separate where we're going to glaze and stop.